Good morning, good afternoon, whatever time of day it is that you are listening, folks. Thank you very, very much for listening. Today is the 18th of July of our Lord 2025. Welcome to yet another edition of the Coping Hour, hosted by Nicholas Hinkle, aka Motown Noah. Where do we want to go with this thing? Where do we want to drive the boat? I don't know, man. I was reading one of my little girly pop subreddits earlier, and they mentioned something in passing about Mercury being in retrograde. And okay. I have not independently verified if that was actually true, or was true in the last week. That would definitely make sense. I think maybe we'll talk about that at the tail end of this episode. But it's been some dark times here at the Coping Hour this week, in a weird, not good place. And also, a lot of the emails that we've been getting in the last week have been way more emotional than they normally would be. Are the boys okay? Are the boys at the Coping Hour okay? I don't know if the girls are okay. You guys don't email into the show. Unless you're, it was Jacqueline. That was who we unmasked as the bratwurst character. It's really one of the only girls that emails into the show. Are the boys okay? Getting a lot of concerning emails in the last week. Did you guys see this? You hear about this? Have not been able to escape this today. It's one of those things that I'm so disgusted that I even just started to bring it up because of how much I don't care about it. But I just need to. At the end of the day, this is sort of a digital time capsule, is how this show exists. That's how we've referred to the Coping Hour before. Which in some way I would push back on myself for, because it's like, well, that's kind of what all shows are, is you're sort of just chronicling the things that are happening right now. You know what I mean? Yeah, I suppose. Yep. That's pretty much all shows, but none of them classify themselves as such, and sort of a pioneer, sort of the Lewis and Clark of calling yourself a digital time capsule in that sense. Have you seen this? Have you heard about this? So there's some dumb CEO of some company who was at a Coldplay concert, and they're doing a break in between songs. And they're like putting fans who are going crazy and nuts and wild on the Jumbotron. And, the fans are having a good time with it, and they're in the crowd, and they're like, I love Coldplay. I could name all their songs. Yeah, we can all name all of Coldplay songs. We all know all of Coldplay songs. It's definitely not insane that they're like one of the biggest bands of all time, because everybody obviously knows all of Coldplay's songs, right? I don't know. I guess maybe if I looked at their Spotify right now, I'd be like, wow, they really did have a lot of hits. I wouldn't call them hits. Like, they're just songs that like people listen to and that were just like on the radio all the time. It was all yellow. It's the only lyric I know from that song. It was all yellow. Is that even the lyric? It's something yellow. But anyways, so then the camera cuts to like a guy in his 50s or something. And he's like hugging from behind. He's holding this woman from behind. He's got his arms around her. And she's got, her hands on his chest. And, oh, what a nice moment. We're just watching Chris Martin serenade us for 2 hours. We're sitting in VIP. But the second that the camera cuts to them and they get put on the Jumbotron, both of them like panic and have the most like, oh shit, we've been had reactions that you could possibly have. The guy like completely turns around and dips out, and then the woman sort of just like, she goes surrender cobra for a minute, and then she puts her hands on her face and she just kind of like dips out a little bit too. Chris Martin narrating the whole thing. He's like, oh no, don't be shy. Oh, okay. These people may be having an affair. And so come to find out, yeah, again, the guy was a CEO of some dumb company that doesn't matter. Big old rich guy with his honey. The problem was that this guy was actually cheating, and he put out like a public statement where he was like, oh, fuck, I got caught cheating on my wife, and I have kids, and this is embarrassing, and whoops-a-daisies. And my bad on that. My bad. Next time I go to a Coldplay concert, I won't cheat. And finished his little public statement by he like quoted Coldplay, like Chris Martin style. I don't know what song it was from. I don't know. It's like Coldplay and Maroon 5. You're like, how did that happen? I got a YouTube short recommended to me, like, I don't know, within the last couple days. And it was like Maroon 5 in their early days, like in the studio. And they were like, I don't know, like sort of just being like how a band in their early days would be. Like there was clearly like a lot of, there was like determination, and there was like a sense of like, hey, this is our entire careers hinge on like being able to actually produce a good record. And even if I don't really remember, Maroon 5, another band, if I know if I looked at their discography, if I look on Spotify, their top 10 most played songs, I'd be like, whoa, like, wow, they really did have a lot of hits. I'm not disputing that either of them like have commercial hits. I'm just saying like, I just kind of thought it was like a thing that like comes up in like an H&M playlist and like it's on in the store. You know, whoa. Do you wonder if that's like, whoa. Well, I was going to say, do you wonder if like that's just how bands like Coldplay or Maroon 5 like get all their hits, is like from like Old Navy and Gap and H&M and, you know, those types of stores just playing like playlists. And so, you know, it sort of just cycles through the same amount of songs. Well, but their tours are very successful. Both of them respectively are very successful. So I guess that I don't really get it. So what's the lesson here, Nick? So like, what are you saying? I don't know. A guy, I just haven't been able to escape this damn story. I've seen it happened last night, and it's a Saturday night. So we're Saturday night. I'm taping this on Thursday night. It happened on Wednesday night. I've seen this video, I swear to God, 20 times today against my will, and I'm getting really frustrated about it. And so if you're like online at all, I'm sure you've kind of been the same way. You can't stop getting away from this guy who got caught like cheating on his wife, which like happens. Like, I don't know. Well, not just cheating, but like people getting caught on kiss cams or something like that. Like in baseball games or something like that exists. You can look up a compilation of like lovers who weren't supposed to be with this person at this crazy event, and they got caught as in 4K on camera cheating. Yeah, I don't know. It's just sort of a, I don't know. What do you think he told his wife that night? I gotta stay late. He's the CEO of a company called Astronomer. I wonder what they do. Be funny if it was like food processing or something like that. It has nothing to do with space. Although Astronomer, you think that's like weapons defense systems or something like that, and for like space lasers and shit like that. And the Space Force, do we still do the Space Force in the United States, or was that just kind of like a fun thing that Trump did in the first term? I say fun very like liberally. I just mean like a funny thing that he did, the Space Force. I guess I would be a little naive to say that that's not a thing, because the future of warfare will sort of take place from space. Unintentional rhyme. I do that from time to time. Dr. Seuss and this news. We actually referenced in the last episode when the thing that Trump likes to take credit for more than anything in the world is when we killed, I say we, wasn't part of the operation, but I am an American, so by extension, I did this the same way that I killed Osama bin Laden. When we killed Soleimani, we fired that drone from space. So where am I going with this? I don't know. It's just funny, I guess, that a guy got... It's actually not funny at all. It's just kind of a thing that happens. Oh no, a guy whose net worth is in the tens of millions of dollars was cheating on his wife. Here's what kind of pissed me off about it, though, is like, I don't know what I'm about to say, but it's gonna come out. I don't know where I'm going with this, but I feel it starting to heat up a little bit. I don't know, like, she wasn't that much younger than him. And so if this guy was in his, like, I don't know, mid to late 50s, maybe early 60s, but no way, like, he was in his 50s. She was, like, in her late 40s. I'm like, oh. I don't know. At that point, I just feel like if you're gonna... I don't know. If you're gonna do it at that point, it's like, you might as well just be like Bill Belichick. You know what I mean? Like, if you're gonna do it, just own it and be a 76-year-old guy who's with a 24-year-old woman. I don't know. And society's gonna reject it the way that they always have. Shane Gillis at the ESPYs was kind of making fun of it. Like, what happened to this country? Like, what, a 76-year-old guy can't date a 24-year-old woman? It's never really been a thing. It's always been a thing that happens, but it's never really been something that is, that isn't frowned upon. What's the best example of this? Like, the most high-profile example of this happening was... well, technically, like, Hugh Hefner and every sexual partner that he ever had in his entire life. Although I guess he wasn't 80 years old for his entire life, but at some point it was like, all right, Hugh, maybe let's hang him up Although maybe that. The most high-profile example of this that I'm talking about would probably be Clinton and Monica Lewinsky, right? I mean, she was like how old was Monica Lewinsky when that happened in the Oval Office? Do you think I need to explain that, or do you wonder if there are, hey, Americans, do you think there are people who don't know what I'm talking about? There's no way, right? Well, okay, TLDR, Bill Clinton was in office, and he was fellatiated by, like a White House staffer in the Oval Office, like an intern. She couldn't have been, what, 20-something years old, like early 20s? She got murdered for that. What's funny is, I don't know if it's funny, but well, yes, it is. Like, there was like a portion of the country, I wasn't alive when that happened, which is really too bad, because imagine that the Monica Lewinsky thing happened for this show. Oh my God. Oh my God. The way that I talk about Mariah Mills on this show, and I can't stop talking about her because she's a cartoon character, and I just think she's really funny. I think I would change the show. I'd be like, we don't do hoops anymore. We don't do sports anymore. We don't do pop culture anymore. We are going to talk about like this woman. But the way that they talked about her obviously was horrible, but it was like, she's not even hot. Like if you're Bill Clinton and like, if you're going to do this, like she could have at least been hot. It's like, I don't know. The guy was just in the Oval Office and he was bored. And he was like, hey, this woman is around and she wants to, I don't know what's going on in this. Man, what's going on, Nick? What's going on with you at home? What's going on with you? Why are you doing this right now? I don't know. I'm just saying all of this just to say, like, well, I don't know. I guess what am I saying? That the guy should be, this aforementioned CEO should be ashamed that the woman wasn't younger? And like less, you know what? If I frame it that way, then it does sound pretty wild. Hey, it's been a tough few weeks in the NBA for me, and I gotta tell you why up front. Maybe in this segment we'll do sort of like miscellaneous NBA notes from the last couple of weeks, like, but not really involving free agency specifically. I just gotta be honest with you guys about something. We experienced an NBA Finals that was dragged out over the course of 17 days, which is way too long. I don't care if it went 7 games. 17 days is way too long. The NBA playoffs in total was like 100 days. That's insane. So we went 17-day NBA Finals, and we all dialed in for that. And then like 2 days after Game 7 happened, it was the NBA draft. You barely had time to breathe that we were doing the draft. And then, as it normally goes, immediately after the draft, within the next couple of days, it's free agency. So then you're like re-dialed in for about a week, I'd say. Once the moratorium closes, then there's not, like, at this point, we're in the middle of July. Free agents, for the most part, have dried up. There are still a couple guys out there, but, like, for the most part, everything's just kind of on the margins. Like, Russell Westbrook is still out there. You imagine he's probably just going to go back to Denver. Anything else would be pretty surprising. Isn't Ben Simmons a free agent right now? And then outside of that, who cares? Again, maybe there were a couple guys that I would kind of be like, oh, I'd raise a little eyebrow and be like, oh, that's interesting for them. But, the real guys are gone. And so I'm just, like, kind of checked out a little bit. And I only say that because, like, I don't have anything for you on Summer League. I don't care. I really got nothing. I haven't watched a single Pistons game in the Summer League even, because it's just like we just like finished the season and then like, but it didn't end. That's kind of where that's the point of what I'm saying is like, it was the finals and then it was the draft and then it was free agency and then it's the Summer League. And it's, if the finals was wrapped up in like 4 games, it was a great series. I'm not mad that the finals went 7. It was a really, really good series, but like, I can't do this for 12 fucking months out of the year. You know what I mean? I'm just really burned out. I just haven't cared about Summer League. Literally haven't watched a single game. Cooper Flagg had like 31 or 32. Oh, did he? That's really awesome for him. None of this shit matters, man. It's a spectacle and it's cool. I've seen some Bronny highlights. Pretty cool. There was a quote from him where he was like, yeah, I suck on offense, so if I want to get my minutes, I just gotta be a hoss on defense. Again, the clips I saw from Summer League, it was like Bronny, steal, breakaway, yam. That's cool. Good for him. Like, for real, good for him. We've never really been like Bronny haters on this show. There's really no reason to do it if you're a rationally thinking person. And okay, so you're bringing up Summer League for what then? This Yang Hansen guy, hilarious. So funny. Like, I was going to call him like the Shohei Ohtani of the NBA, which would be a mini racism. Also, he's not from Japan. I just meant in the sense that he's a guy that I was going to say that we don't know that much about, but we knew stuff about Shohei when he came to the MLB. He was still kind of an enigma, but like, so really all that it is that they don't really speak great English and that they have to have translators. And oh, okay, that's pretty much it. Don't really know why I was going to. It's funny. I didn't have to say that I was going to say the Shohei thing. I could have just kept going with the point, but instead I had to put a hand up. I'm just impervious to being bigoted on the show, and I just have to call it out before I even actually do it and without actually. Anyways. And so there's been a ton of funny quotes coming out from Yang Hansen, this center for the Blazers. A pick, by the way, that like half of the quote unquote smart basketball people clowned Portland for, because I guess there were a lot of draft boards in the NBA where teams had him as like a second round grade, but the people who knew, like really knew, you know what I mean? That's sort of what it sounds like, is the Chinese Jokic. I'm sure some of you out there have heard that. The Big Tariff. That's what they're calling him. The Big Tariff. I have seen in the Blazers subreddit that they think that's racist. I haven't really seen anybody explain why. I don't understand why the Big Tariff is racist. It's just funny. Why? Because we're taxing China? We're taxing the entire world. Why? So because we like tax Brazil or like Argentina, so now we're racist towards like, I don't know, the Portuguese or like the Hispanics of the world? I don't know. I don't know. Big Tariff is a funny nickname. I mean, it's kind of forced, but I think the funnier one is Big Handsome. That's a funny one. Big Handsome. I like that one for Hansen Yang. Again, I haven't seen like anything from him except for like box scores. It seems like a stat stuffer. Seems like the Chinese Jokic nomenclature could stick. Of course, it's Summer League, and at the end of the day, really, who cares about that? I think Kyle Kuzma was the MVP of the Summer League one year. He was. It was the year, I think it was Lonzo's rookie year, and they ended up winning the chip in Summer League, and Kuzma was the damn MVP out in Vegas. I mean, I don't know. I've seen some quotes from Yang Hansen. He was talking, although I don't know. You see Hansen Yang when he got drafted, and now it's Yang Hansen. Who knows where it'll go from there. But you saw some quotes out there. He's like, I love to sleep, and I love to eat, and I love to play PlayStation. Damn, brother. Nice. Yeah. Cool. There was his interpreter the other day. Somebody asked him a question, and they were like, what are you going to do after the game? And he was like, I'm not going to play video games. I'm just going to go to bed, and then when I wake up, I'm going to take a nap. Damn. It just seems funny. He seems like a really funny guy. Although I don't know, just to bring it back to the Shohei thing, and speaking of interpreters, this is like tangentially related. We'll get back to the NBA in just a second. So with the MLB All-Star Game happening, like Shohei did 15 minutes on Pat McAfee. And I'm just kind of like, Shohei, at some point you just have to like get over the fact that you're like, I don't know if he's scared to speak English. I don't know what it is. He speaks English. He does. And I've felt this way for like a year. And then at the World Series, the parade that they did, by the time they got it back at a Dodger Stadium and they're like talking to all the fans, this motherfucker grabs the mic and it's like, what's up? He's like, what's up, Los Angeles? This was awesome. And I'm so happy that I'm here. And he had like an American accent. He didn't. I'm embellishing. But it's just like he spoke perfect English. I was like, what the hell, Shohei? Now, this McAfee thing really confused me, really threw me for a loop. Because he's got his interpreter there. And Pat McAfee's like asking the interpreter questions. He's like, hey, will you ask Shohei if he could strike himself out? And it's just, formulaically, it's just so like, it's not awkward or like uncomfortable or jarring. I don't know what the adjective here is to like have Pat McAfee, quote unquote, interviewing Shohei Ohtani. But he's actually just kind of like he's just interviewing the interpreter. You know what I mean? I don't know. It's just weird. But where I'm going with this is like when people were talking, whether it was the interpreter speaking in English or whether it was Pat McAfee asking a question or anybody else at the desk, Shohei was like nodding his head like when he was supposed to nod his head, or like he was laughing like when something was said. And you could tell me like, well, he was just mirroring what everybody else was doing. No. Bullshit. He speaks English. He's a fucking liar. I think that's what it is. I think Shohei is a damn liar. He's the best baseball player I've ever seen in my life, but he's a liar. This Yang Hansen guy, I like him. Seems like he's pretty funny. And honestly, speaking of Portland, by all accounts, seems like this pick is going to be fun. I'm not going to say that it's going to hit. I don't know. But it seems like it's going to be fun. Dude, the damn, the like Chinese state television was broadcasting the Summer League games. I think if nothing else, that's why the pick is genius. Because, I don't know, even if it doesn't work, like, it's kind of like what happened with the Rockets, where, like, that was partially why they didn't have any Chinese players. Ooh, I'm about to ask a question. Because I can think of a guy who signed in Houston. I think it was immediately after I just spoiled it. Immediately after a certain phenomenon happened with the Knicks. I'm just going to Google this really quick, and I want to cover all of my bases. Yeah, sure. Okay, this is dicey. Jeremy Lin. I knew he was American, like he was from America, but I didn't know, like, you know what I mean? Torrance, California, born to a Taiwanese American family. So would you call him, that's not technically, well, it is technically Chinese, but territorially, how much sovereignty does Taiwan have? How does that whole thing work? Damn it, Nick. This is such a bad time to bring this up. So Taiwan and their sovereignty isn't recognized by China, but everybody else does? Is that what it is? No, I don't think that's what it is either. Isn't there, like, even though Biden was like, if China attacks Taiwan, we will be the first to defend Taiwan. It's very noble, very admirable. But don't they even not technically acknowledge Taiwan as its own independent sovereign territory? I don't remember. Off the top of my head, I don't remember. So then so he's Taiwanese. He's not Chinese, he's Taiwanese. But that just depends on who you ask. Well, but wasn't that partially, this is where I'm going with all this. Isn't that partially why the Rockets were so big in China? Or was it just James Harden? It might have just been James Harden. But that's also why it was such a big deal when Daryl Morey had the like protest tweets in, was it Hong Kong that those were going on, or was it Beijing? I think it was Hong Kong. And then Chinese state television was like, no more Rockets. We're pulling the plug on the Houston Rockets. Fuck the NBA. I think it might have just been because of Harden, because they would always go over there in like the preseason. And I think it might have just been him. But it would make sense. Stop bringing up Jeremy Lin. Stop it. Stop. Well, it makes sense if you're the Blazers then to draft Yang Hansen. That's like how many people live in China? Like a damn 1.5 billion people? That's a lot of money. Every single one of those people cares about hoops. Every single one of them. It's communism. It's mandated by the government. They have to care about hoops. We have one in the NBA. Ever heard of it? Although, I don't know, maybe they sort of like Men in Black'd the entire country after the Daryl Morey thing. Bloop. And now they don't remember what ball is. They don't know what hoops is. Well, but then where did Yang Hansen come from? How long until people start doing the thing with Yang Hansen where they're like made in a lab? Lab, fake guy, not real. It took Yao Ming, I mean, when did he get drafted? 2002, maybe? I don't know. By the time I was, like, conscious as an NBA fan, which was, like, 2005, I remember that being a thing that people were like, Yao Ming was made in a lab. But isn't there real evidence to suggest that? Isn't that a real thing? Namely, the fact that, like, nobody's that big. Although, I don't know. When you think about, like, the guys who are the most abnormally big, a lot of them come from China, but also, I'm trying to rack my brain of all of the information that I can remember about if Yao Ming was made in a lab. Also, I can talk as much about evidence as I want, but I live in the same country that was like, coronavirus started because a guy ate a bat at a wet market. And then there wasn't that much evidence to suggest that. I think that was sort of I think that was just kind of like, we know that that's a thing. And like that wet markets, like conceptually that they exist. And so we just sort of were like, well, that makes sense. But it really didn't. And then, to be fair to it, we're pretty unfair to Donald Trump, but maybe justifiably on this show. But I don't know. He was like the one who was like, no, it's the Wuhan flu. It was made in a lab. The Wuhan flu is the funniest shit. Maybe the funniest thing he's ever said. It's super racist. Well, it's not really. Is it? I don't know why I keep doing this. What he said was, he was like, it wasn't a fucking bat. He was like, they made it in a lab. And then like the Ben Klippensteins and the fucking George Takei's of the internet were like, the Kathy Griffins of the internet were like, you're a fucking xenophobe. You're a xenophobe. He is, but not because of that. Because then guess what happened? I don't know. Maybe he is because of that. But then like, I don't know. Joe Biden was in office and he was like, hey, Jack, well, we've come to the conclusion that they made that in a lab. And it was like, oh, okay. Well, I guess they made it in a lab. I'm like, well, what the fuck? I mean, I don't know. This guy said that they did. I don't want to cape for him right now. This is like the worst time. I'm not even caping for him. I just think it was a funny. It was just as an instance. It was a funny thing that happened. Yang Hansen. When are they going to start saying he was made in a lab? How big is he? Is he big enough to be? I don't know if he's big enough to really get those allegations, those accusations, synonyms thrown at him. I'm going to look up how big Yang Hansen. How big Yang Hansen? I imagine that's probably how he'll say it in a couple of years once he starts to get his English down. I looked up where Jeremy Lin from. It's also probably how he would say it in a couple of years. He doesn't speak as great English or any English at all. I don't really know if he does. Yang Hansen is 7'1". His IQ is, that's not what that says. Never mind. Wow, 7'1", 250? No, that's just like normal. If you're 7'1", I would hope you're 250. Unless you're like Victor Wembanyama and you're like 150. Or like Chet Holmgren, you're like 150. Or you're like Alexei Pokashevsky, rather. Alexei. Unless you're Poku and you're like 7'2", like 30 pounds. Not really a great time for me to be like, people don't talk enough about Sam Presti's misses. Well, it's because he hasn't had that many, but Poku stunk. How many of us out there convinced us that Poku was going to be really good, but then he stunk? I don't think Yang Hansen Yang, whatever we're calling him these days. I don't think the big tariff, the big handsome, I don't think he's going to stink. But also, and this is where I think I started to say, and let's talk about this now, like 10 minutes ago, and then I just went on like a well, where I wanted to go with this was, man, if you're a Blazers fan right now, how good of a day are you having? The day that I'm taping this, the Damian Lillard news broke, 2 hours ago. He's going home. He's going back to Portland. Awesome. Going back to PDX. Going back to Rip City, 3 years, $42 million. Going to miss the entirety of next year, but anybody that was going to sign him knew that was going to be a thing, so it's not really a big deal. He's rehabbing his Achilles. I just can't believe, like, wow, this has been, like, some great business by Portland. Because we're 2 years removed from the Dame trade. A trade that saw Damian Lillard get sent to Milwaukee and Drew Holiday get sent to Boston, all in the same deal. And what Portland, 2 years removed from that, has in their possession is Damian Lillard, Drew Holiday, 2 pick swaps via Milwaukee, Robert Williams, Denny Avdia. I think they were able to get Avdia because they didn't have Dame on their books. I think Robert Williams might have come from Boston in that trade, I think is how it worked out. And meanwhile, like, if you're Milwaukee, it's like, damn, we traded for 2 years of Dame's contract just to have to pay it for 7 years? Oh. Is that how that works out? Oh. Driftermeme.jpg from Destiny 2. Ooh. Scorn approaching. That's too bad. This is awesome for Portland. It's a good day to be Scoot Henderson, honestly. You hope that Dame feels differently about Scoot than he did a couple of years ago. Because wasn't that a thing? Wasn't there like a little bit of like, fuck Scoot Henderson, I think he stinks and he's an idiot. Take those goggles off, bitch. But Scoot Henderson stayed true to himself. He had a good year last year. And so what's the theory here is that if you're a Blazers fan, you're like, oh, are we going to get like a Chris Paul mentoring Shai Gilgeous-Alexander type situation here in Portland with Dame and Scoot Henderson? No, but it could be something close. There are certainly a lot worse people to have mentor your guard of the future in Scoot Henderson. And I also really like the culture that Chauncey has been building. We've chronicled that a handful of times on this show. Like, I think, the word culture is thrown around pretty loosely these days. And the truth is, like, not a lot of teams actually have real culture in the NBA. Like, even some of the good teams, like, don't have like actual culture. They just have good players that know how to play with each other, but there's not like an identity to the team, which maybe it's just a sort of case by case, like what, like, conceptually culture actually is to you as it pertains to a basketball team. But like, I don't know, like, Oklahoma City is a good example of like, what's the culture in Oklahoma City? They're all super reserved. They all play within themselves, but for each other. You know what I mean? There have been plenty of successful teams in the NBA who do not play that way. What's the culture in Detroit? We're going to beat the shit out of you. That's real culture. That's a real thing. Whereas, like, if you look at, and I'm not trying to, like, disrespect teams. This is just the way that I look at it. So, like, I don't know. If you're the Timberwolves, that's a team that I just think has good players. There's not, like, an identity to them. The Knicks, I think it's just... the Knicks feel a little bit different, but I think that identity came from Tibbs, and now with Mike Brown, I almost said Mike Woodson and Mike Jones and Mike Brown. I don't really remember the identity of past Mike Brown teams. I just remember him being like a medium good coach. So I don't know. The identity of the Knicks is kind of up in the air. I don't know what I would classify Orlando's culture as, but I think it definitely exists. The Hornets are another good example of like their culture is, if you're the biggest loser in the world, you can come play for our team. A team that's confusing, and this is maybe where we can move on to a different thing. A team that really confuses me, and I don't know, do they have culture? The Clippers? What do you think about that? You think the Clippers have culture? I don't know, dude. Like, by not giving Paul George a max contract, was that a year ago? Has he only been on the Sixers for a year? Jesus, man. Oh, he's getting another surgery, I think, on his knee. Good for him. But if they gave him the max last year, they wouldn't have been able to do what they're doing now, which is, as of today, the Bradley Beal buyout, or was it yesterday, officially happened. And so he's signed with the Clippers on, like, he's making like $10 a year over 2 years. So the Clippers got Bradley Beal on a mid-level, John Collins on a taxpayer exception, Brook Lopez on the mid-level, Derrick Jones Jr. on the mid-level, Nicholas Batum on the biannual, and they got Chris Dunn in a sign-and trade. And then obviously they still have Harden and they still have Kawhi. And you're like, whoa. Oh, okay. They traded Terrence Mann, right? They traded him to Atlanta at the deadline, I think. It's really too bad. I don't really know what the identity is. It's just kind of like, and they don't have Ben Simmons anymore, but who knows? Maybe he'll re-sign there. I don't know. So, like, identity? Oh, have you been a guy that nobody has wanted before? You have a home with the Los Angeles Clippers. And you're like, okay. And then Clippers, maybe they got something going there. I don't know. In the last, like, however many weeks or whatever, again, Bradley Beal, John Collins, Brook Lopez, Derek Jones Jr., Nicholas Batum, and Chris Dunn. I don't know. That's a good group of guys to just, like, bring on your team. Like, Bradley Beal is a loser and he's an asshole and blah, blah, blah. Why? Because he signed it. We don't need to do the Bradley Beal thing again. He's a loser, though, right? Well, that doesn't mean that he's bad at basketball. And for $10 a year, that's good value. I don't know. It could be worse. You could be Phoenix, who's paying him $100 million to not be on the team, which they would have been doing even if he was actually on the team. So, I don't know. You're just, in your head, you're just kind of like, okay, this kind of works on paper, but how are they going to do the Clippers thing? You know what I mean? Like, what's going to be the thing that it's like, that's the Clippers. They got this really nice arena. And imagine that, right? Like, I don't know, you were a season ticket holder last year at the Intuit Dome. One of the finest arenas, I think, that's been built in sports in the last... And it's right next door to SoFi Stadium, by the way, which I think pound for pound is the most glorious and luxurious stadium in American sports, period. SoFi Stadium is beautiful. It's gorgeous. And you feel like you're in the future when you're in that stadium. It's incredible, right? It's right next door in Inglewood. I think it's right next door to the Forum. But the damn thing is so weird because you guys see the thing about, the Clippers. The headline is so nice. The Clippers during the playoffs, they gave out free tickets to some of their most devoted fans who like cheered the loudest during the season. You're like, wow, that's a really noble gesture. That's really cool. Good guy, Steve Ballmer. That's what they say about him. He's a good guy who just cares about his team. He is, is a Microsoft guy. He's just a dork who likes to sit courtside, yeah, and just go nuts when James Harden hits like a Hezzy Tween step back. But it's like, yeah, but if you just peel back the layer a little bit, how are they able to identify the... So, bring. I'm a ticket rep for the Los Angeles Clippers, and I'm calling you at home. You bought tickets to a game against the Celtics in the middle of December. You went to one game. It was a Christmas present to somebody else, and that was like your splurge. You went to one Clippers game, right? But you cheered the loudest, and so you get free tickets to a playoff game. Bring. I'm the ticket salesman. Hey, we just wanted to reward you with these tickets. You've been such a devoted fan, and we know that you cheered the loudest. And we just want to extend our support and really thank you for it. Oh, wow, Clippers ticket representative. That's really, really kind of you. Can I just ask? I'll gladly accept the tickets. I'm just curious, like, what do you mean I was the loudest? Like, it was a pretty loud arena. Like, how are you able to identify that I was the loudest? And the ticket representative has to be honest with them and be like, yeah, about that. We are harvesting your biometric data, and we are listening to you when you are sitting in your seat, and we also have your heart rate and your blood pressure and your stress levels. And what the huh? I'll still take the tickets, but what the can I opt out of this? No, it's just kind of comes with the territory. It's that's the boss upstairs. It's Steve Ballmer. By the way, I'm not even being tongue in cheek. Like, I don't know how many of you out there know about this, but like, that's just like what they do. They just like listen to you when you're at your seat, and so when you cheer loud, they know that you're cheering loud. And it's like so I'm wearing an Aura ring right now, right? So I can check my heart rate. I know my stress levels. My sleep cycle is tracked, and I know when I'm hitting my REM and shit like that. Dog, they have like REM seats in the damn Intuit Dome, and like that's how they reward people, is by just like tracking and harvesting their biometric data. Wow. Okay, that's pretty cool. I don't know how the Clippers are gonna bullshit their way out of this one, but you not like to imagine, but you imagine that they probably will. What else has been going on in the NBA? Here's something that we didn't cover. One of the best rule changes, I think, in the history of the NBA, point blank period. Right before Summer League started, I read an article on Bleacher Report that said that the NBA was experimenting with a new rule in the Summer League where if you, as a player, took a heave, right? Like a full court shot within the last, I don't remember how many, 5-10 seconds of the game, of a quarter or something like that. That does not count against your personal field goal percentage. That counts against the team's field goal percentage. So it's a free shot for you. Unless you make it, then it counts. But if you miss it, it's no skin off your nose. It literally doesn't matter. First of all, great for the NBA to like use the summer league as like an experimental thing, right? Like, let's try new shit. I think they are also doing that with the shot clocks. They're like circular now. And people are like, what's this woke shot clock all about? What the fuck do you mean it's a circle? Shot clocks are supposed to be square. Been very funny to watch Reddit get fired up about that one. Sort of like what Major League Baseball does with the minor leagues, where like that's where they started the pitch clock. I think that's where they started having a runner start on second base and extra innings. Right now, I think in the minors they're doing like strike zone reviews. So if a ball is outside and the ump is like strike, and you're like, what the hell? Don't you just like tap your helmet, or it's something like that? You just do like a small gesture and then they check it out and like that's it. I don't remember if it was like spring training or if they were doing that, or if it's the minors that they're doing that. But like, yeah, dog, like use, single through AAA as like to do experimental shit. Robo umps, isn't that a thing in some leagues? That part I don't remember. But like, yeah, let's get weird in the summer league. But also, please just like roll that over into the actual NBA. There's nothing truly that bothers me more about the NBA. I'll listen to like I would rather have Stephen A. Smith and like Kendrick Perkins covering all 82 games that I watch every single season, than like witness a guy become a member of the field goal percentage savings club, where they just like eat a grenade at the end of a quarter, and then like as soon as the buzzer sounds, they put a shot up to give the illusion that, oh fuck, I just didn't get it in time, and that's it. Fuck you. Shut up. Take the shot. Take the shot. Who cares? This is the fucking Coliseum, bro. This is a circus. Put this shot up. I paid $150 to be 5 rows off the floor, and you can't take a 60-foot shot, bitch. What are you talking about? But then also there's a sort of caveat to, not a caveat, but like, so like what like constitutes a heave? I think it was like 36 feet. If you're 36 feet to what's the regulation NBA court? 70 feet, I think is what it is. If you're like 36 to 70 feet away, that's a heave. No. 36 feet is like inside of half court. Dudes like kind of be taking those shots. You know what I mean? If you're within the half court, no, that should count. That should count. Because like, I don't know. Dame, God rest his Achilles, he'd kind of like be taking those shots. Steph, yeah, he takes those shots. Trey, yeah, he takes those shots. Anthony Edwards, I don't know what the data would suggest, but I don't know, he kind of takes those shots. Sure, maybe it's infrequent, but like Karl Anthony Towns, like he kind of sneaky takes those shots like way more than you would think. I don't know about 36 damn feet. That's pretty far away from the basket. But like, you get what I'm saying? Logo shots are like a thing that happens like in a game. 45, I think, has to be the limit for this. But otherwise, great rule. I really, really hope they carry that over. I don't know if there's been any communication on that otherwise. Oh, and then, oh my God, have you seen this? Have you heard about this? The damn New York Times. I should have done a whole episode about this. Maybe we'll jump into this. I don't know. But the New York Times put out an interesting article just the other day in the middle of Summer League. Hey, we're getting tricked. We've been had. We've been hoodwinked. We've been lied to. You remember how for the last few years, the only communication that we were hearing about expansion in the NBA was that, yeah, man, they just need to get this TV deal done. And then, yeah, you'll get Seattle and you'll get Vegas. Okay. Well, I'm a chimp, and I'm not a chimp, but I'm a parrot. I'm a parakeet. And so, like, when they say that, when Adam Silver gets on a podium and says shit like that, I come on this show and I, like, pretty aggressively and, like, as if it's fact, say the same thing. I just regurgitate it. Well, now I'm not so sure. Apparently, now that they've signed this new TV deal, which is insanely lucrative, between ABC, Amazon, and NBC, each network has to pay the NBA a damn $1.5 billion per season for the next, like, decade. Well, what we're learning is that there is a small coalition of owners who, as far as I understand it, have yet to be named, but we do know that James Dolan is involved in this, owner of the New York Knicks, who are like, what if we didn't do expansion? So that way we don't have to share that money with two other teams. But the way that they'll package it is, well, we want to win a championship, and it becomes a little harder to do that if you're adding two teams. You're not adding two teams. You're adding one team. Like, that's what you're doing. Per conference, you're adding one team. Now, how does that work if you're adding Seattle and Vegas? Who fucking knows? Memphis is in the damn West, but they're in the East. So honestly, maybe that's how you do it, is you just say, Memphis, what's up? You're in the East now. Like, even growing up, the Red Wings were in the West. Made no damn sense. Now they're in the East. They did realignment. So if you're adding two teams, yeah, that's all you would do, is you just move Memphis to the East. If it's Seattle and Vegas, you move Memphis to the East, and then it's the same thing. It's effectively adding one team to each. That math doesn't make any damn sense. There are 30 teams in the NBA. Let's say you add 32. If you add both of those teams to the West, then there would be 15. I can't do this math. This doesn't make sense to me. I'm confusing myself. But that's what they're saying. They don't want to do it because they don't want to share the money, and they're doing it under the illusion, under the guise that, well, it just makes it harder to compete for a championship. My fucking ass it does. What are you talking about? That stinks. That really stinks if there's going to be collusion from the NBA owners, and that's why we don't get Seattle, and that's why we don't get Vegas. And then, but honestly, I was kind of looking in the mirror. I was like, Nick, why do you want expansion so bad? Why do you want expansion so bad? The truth is that it's pretty greedy of Seattle to want a team when their team literally just won a championship. So Seattle wants two. They want double the chances at winning a championship. That seems fucked up. That seems wrong. Why do I want expansion so bad? It's a good question. I don't know. I think maybe some of it is that I know when that expansion draft does happen, and, you know, teams have to make really difficult decisions about protecting certain players and not protecting other players. I think you'll just see a really interesting shakeup in the NBA, and I don't think it's really going to change the power dynamics of the league, you know, to an absurd extent. And I think the teams that are really good will, like, continue to be really good. Like, the Pistons lost Rick Mahorn. It hurt, but then they won a damn championship the next year, right? So, like, it's not going to completely handicap you. But it does dilute the pool even, 5%, 10%? There is a slightly more equal distribution of talent around the league. Marginal as it may be, it would still exist. Another reason I want it, it's just cool. Expansion hasn't happened in my conscious sports fandom life, in the NBA at least, or the NFL, or the MLB. I mean, the only time I think I've seen it is with the Vegas Golden Knights and then the Seattle Kraken. That's like really it. We'll see it in the W. I mean, we're seeing it now. They just added Golden State or San Francisco or whatever bullshit. And the Portland Fire are going to be a thing. And the Detroit Shock are going to come back. And Cleveland's going to come back. And so, you know, they'll be adding more teams. But, you know, I care about the W. But, you know, yeah, I don't know. I think I just want it because I want the Sonics. Sue me. What happens when LeBron retires, and in a year when he's retired, and then in, you know, 2, maybe 3 years when Steph is retired? Who knows what his timeline is? And these guys want a stake in a team. Who's Adam Silver going to listen to? Well, who would Adam Silver listen to? Because really the question would just come down to like 2 fucking guys or 30 guys. 30 guys who actually own a team versus 2 guys who like want to buy a team. That's a good question. It's not a good question. It's not a good question. Adam Silver would, I think, listen to the owners that currently own the teams. I don't know. I would like to think more about this, and maybe, like I said at the beginning, maybe we will revisit this. Hey, we're running a little weird here in today's show, but Oh, wow. 2 email. I was going to do some emails. copinghoursubs@gmail.com. Spelled phonetically. Email available in the description wherever it is that you listen to this program. 2 emails have come in since we started taping. This one comes into us from Quinn. So I haven't had a chance to vet these. If this email sucks, I'm going to be really upset. Quinn, welcome to the show. No pressure. Subject line, fandom-related questions. It's a good start. Hey, Nick, if you are from an area that doesn't support franchises in the 5 if you count MLS, sports leagues, or an area without a specific college team dedicated to the area, figuring out your quote-unquote web of fandom per se can be a bit tricky and end up a little bit convoluted. As you know, you can also develop different attachments to different areas or teams or players that can complicate your fandom as well. As someone who has a pretty well and defined and clear fandom web that is devoid of outliers, I feel like you would be a good person to set some ground rules. Okay, well, let's give it a shot. Number 1, is it cool to change sports allegiances if you move to a different city than the one that you grew up in? Is it cool to change sports allegiances if you move to a different city than the one? Yeah. Yeah. It may not be like ethical to most people, but it doesn't matter. This barrier that people have up that like the team that you were rooting for when you were growing up is the team that you have to root for your entire life. Scott Van Pelt, I think, has one of the best quotes like of all time where he said, "Sports is the most important thing in the world that does not matter at all." Yeah. Shit isn't real. If a team that you rooted for your entire life starts to stink, or like in the case of the Dallas Mavericks, trades Luka Doncic, what loyalty do you have to that team? If you're a season ticket holder, yeah, it's a little different. It's a little different. But like, stop giving them your money. Fucking root for somebody else. I don't know. I'm never going to be the guy that's going to care when somebody's like, yeah, I rooted for the Red Sox for 15 years. And then I was like, I'm going to check out the Orioles. That's wild, but if that's what you want to do, and if you can justify it, and you don't even have to justify it, by the way, but like if there's a train of logic that you're following as to why you want to do that, okay, bro. Like, it's just about having like a good time. So yes, it's cool. Number 2, is it cool to change college allegiances if you attend a different school than the one you grew up supporting? That's a crazy question, I even think. Of course it is. Of course it is. I don't think you need to completely change it, though. I think that's a little overboard. You don't have to completely change it. It does, I guess, depend on the context a little bit. Like, I obviously didn't go to college, but we grew up as Michigan State fans because everyone in our family went to Michigan State. I had an aunt that worked in, like, admissions, I think. Even to this day, everybody that I know in my girlfriend's family, everybody went to Michigan State. And so that's who I've always rooted for. But then my brother went to Grand Valley State. Guess what? He loves Grand Valley State. Doesn't mean he has to stop liking Michigan State. Where it would be different is if you grew up your entire life as a Michigan State fan and then you went to U of M because you wanted to be a fucking doctor or something like that. And then you just kind of started rooting for Michigan. It gets a little bit tricky, but like, no, dude. You're paying, what even is tuition? $50,000 a year, depending on the school you're at. It's a complete blind spot for me. I have no idea. Tens of thousands of dollars a year to go to a school. Fuck you if you want to start rooting for that school. Of course that's fine. You know what I mean? Like, who cares? Number 3, if said school doesn't support a sport that you follow, like a basketball-only school not sponsoring college football, is it okay to then switch up your allegiances? You know what, man? I can tell where this is going. None of this matters. I think I sound a little like aggressive here and maybe a little bit rude. I just really want this to get through to you because I can tell that you're kind of asking the same question over and over again. Like, it's worded different, but the genesis of it is the same question. And I'm just going to keep saying the same thing. So let's just speed through these. Is picking a random team to support just to be different from all your peers main bitch attention-seeking whore? My parents didn't talk to me, only child, little bitch behavior? There we go. That's a great question. There we go. I'm glad I sped ahead because the 3 questions were the same fucking question. Picking a random team to support just to be different from all your peers. Is that only child, little bitch behavior? I guess if it's only for the sake of, like, being different, yeah, it's kind of like pick me behavior a little bit. But, like, who are you hoping picks you? It's not pick me, it's contrarian is what it is. Nobody likes a contrarian. Like, I was kind of like that as a kid, but I wasn't doing it to piss people off. Like when I was younger and when Alabama was in the middle of their dynasty, yeah, dog, I loved rooting for Alabama. I wasn't a fan. I just loved rooting for them because it was a dynasty. It was the most dominant run I had ever seen in college football in my life. And so, like, yeah, that was fun for me to root for. The Kansas City Chiefs. I'm not a fan of them. I like to root for them. They were on the cusp of a dynasty. By the approximation of most, one of the, 3, 4 best quarterbacks, 2 best quarterbacks. I don't know. The Super Bowl still rattled me with Mahomes. I don't know. That was such a wild game. Cooper DeJean had a pick 6, bro. That's crazy. No disrespect to Cooper DeJean, but like it's Patrick Mahomes. You know what I mean? So wherever you put Mahomes, I don't care. It's Andy Reid. It's Travis Kelce. It's Taylor Swift. You know, it's Chris Jones. It's George Karlaftis. It's Rashee Rice, who is on probation for like 5 years and going to get suspended. It's annoying when it's like when you don't have any logic for it and you're just doing it to be a contrarian. Yeah. You said just needed a ruling for this in the boys group chat. P.S. In parentheses, I see why you did this. Okay. P.S. Obligatory basketball hot take. Jordan Clarkson will be more impactful off of the bench for the Knicks than MPJ will be starting for the Nets. Yeah. Well, I can't be that dismissive and about it because it just depends on the variant of Michael Porter Jr. that you're getting. But people get tricked. This happened on the shoot-around, actually. Like, you think that Jordan Clarkson is like a hooper who has like sick numbers. He doesn't. He's actually like, not to be a dork who's like pushing up my glasses. Well, actually. But like, that guy's efficiency is not good. Jordan Clarkson. Maybe it was this last year and I didn't see it. Also, like, out of all the guys in the NBA who just have dumb tattoos, LaMelo at this point is number 1. Just the dumbest tattoos. That Chosen One tattoo he has, shut up. Shut up. LeBron is literally the only guy who is ever allowed to have that tattoo. You know why? Because when that motherfucker was 10 years old, he was on the cover of Sports Illustrated talking about, is this kid just a kid from Akron? Is he the chosen one? To live up to the hype that LeBron had for like 5 years before he even got, for like, 8 years before he even got into the NBA is wild. Wild. To even be like medium good. Like if LeBron had Melo's career, yeah, it would be a little bit of a letdown, quote unquote letdown. But like, even that would have been crazy. What LeBron's career has been, and him being in the zeitgeist for 25 years, is crazy. So he's allowed to have that. LaMelo, Mr. I know Michigan in Detroit, shut up. Chosen One. Insane. Where I'm going with this is Jordan Clarkson's like, I think it's like a damn elephant that he has on his neck. It's so bad. I hate it. I remember when Jordan Clarkson started getting tattoos. It was when he was in Cleveland, I think. And I was like, oh. I think that's when he got the neck tattoo. Like right here, like on his damn Jordan's apple. Ugh. It just doesn't look good. I don't like it. Guys can have sick tattoos, but Jordan Clarkson's not one of them. Michael Porter Jr. I don't know. Depends on what version of him you're getting. Are you getting the version that hates vaccines? Are you getting the version that has a shitty back? Are you getting the version that hates women? Are you getting the version that has a shithead brother? Are you getting the version of Michael Porter Jr. where his shoulder doesn't work? Just depends. And then you said, what is this? You said not for the show? Oh, so I shouldn't read this. Whoa. Ooh, this is sick. He gave me his phone number. He said something sick. Oh, I'm so happy I read this. You said something so sick in here. Oh, this is so, I want to read this. I can't read this. This is so cool though. Oh, I'm going to text you, brother. I'm going to text you. I don't know when, but I will text you at some point. And then there's another one here. It's from, I can't read this one right now. We got an email from Tom, from Bathroom Tom, and we'll end the show on this. And I wanted to read it the other day, but I didn't get the chance because I was too distracted talking about Jeffrey Epstein and Donald Trump. Bathroom Tom, aka Wizards fan Tom. Some of you may know known by his preferred nomenclature, Hot Tom. He's back. He hasn't emailed in a while. It's funny. I was actually just thinking about him, and I was going to email him and be like, straight up, like, I just want to make sure you're good. Like, you're probably traveling somewhere in some fucking exotic place with your French girlfriend. So you're probably busy, but I just want to make sure that you're good. And then, like, it was like literally 2 days after that he emailed in, so it was just really good timing. So Tom, what's up, brother? The subject line here, and then it scrolled all the way back to the top, and then I'm sorry, guys, I got 20% on my battery. It's like, oh, you got 20% on your battery. Subject line, Summer League is interesting? A report and question from the bottom of the barrel. Hey, Nick, back home in D.C., girlfriend is staying at the family home for the first time, and there is no better time to send an email than on the toilet right now. I am currently watching the Wizards' most important part of the season. The Summer League is surprisingly interesting, I gotta say. I've never watched too much of it, save for the last 2 years, but it's good ball. My girlfriend asked an interesting question, and I wanted to see if you could explain it for her. And then in parentheses, you said, P.S. Yes, she saw the episode with French comments. Yes, it was a small but funny argument. She is a fan of your show and encourages me to watch and email in. Tom, I'm going to break the email for a second. So here's the problem is, so for those of you maybe don't know, Tom has a French girlfriend. The problem is Tom saying, yes, she saw the episode with French comments. Yes, it was a small but funny argument. It's unknowable what I said. The amount of tirades I've gone on about French people, they're so mean. They're so brutally mean. I would say like real French people. I don't want to say real French people and like denote like who's like you're stamped actually French and you're like fake French. I don't know, like homeland French people I would give the nice edge to over Canadian French. Those are the real ones that you have to watch out for. But what they have in common, I don't know what it is about them. And Tom, this is harmless. Don't worry. Like, if you try to speak French, they're mean about it. But then it's like they're so inconvenienced by needing to speak English. I know you speak English. You know what? Maybe Shohei should go fucking play ball in France. Because that's what they have in common. I don't know. What have I said about them? I've said that they like to riot. That's true. That's not even mean, by the way. They're politically active, something that I think leftists in America could learn from. But instead they clutch their pearls when right-wingers organize and storm the Capitol. It's like you guys would literally do the same thing. By the way, you guys would also hang Mike Pence. You know what I mean? So it's like you guys can get all up in arms about it, but you guys would do the same fucking thing. But you don't have the balls and you don't have the guns. I'm not endorsing that anybody does it. I'm not saying we should have a January 6th, 2.0. Just saying, at least like right-wingers like really organize in that way. Well, I can't say really organized. I mean, actually, they've done a really good job. Leftists in America have done a really good job of that this year between, like, No Kings protests and just, like, anti-establishment protests. Really come out in droves this year. So, been really good about that. But otherwise, it had been, like, 5 years since anybody has really shown up and done anything. And that was because George Floyd got murdered. So, which, again, very good reason to come out and protest. It's like, oh, okay, so there is something that can get you up. You know what I mean? So it's either like unarmed civilians getting murdered by the police. Yep. Reasonable. Or like authoritarianism in America. And that's it. Whereas like, I don't know. Tom, I don't want to do this to you. Why don't I just get back to the email? Hey, did your girlfriend see the video of, this was maybe a month ago at this point, of Macron getting slapped by his 100-year-old wife? He was getting off of what I imagine was like the French equivalent of Air Force One. But like they were right outside of the little like hatch. And you just like see him standing there like, I don't know, like clearly trying to be like, come on, old bag. And she just, whop! She just smacks him. You just see a hand come out of nowhere and smack him. He like looks outside and realizes that there are cameras on, and he immediately like steps forward. And then when they emerge together, she like refuses to hold his hand like Melania style. So Macron definitely got slapped. What is she big? She care about Macron? She Macron guy. Do the French care about that? Do they care about the whole thing with his wife, or do we just care about that a lot here? If you hear anybody talk about Macron, the only thing that they'll talk about is his wife. And now she's did I say this yet, that she's 200 years old? Let's get back to the email, Tom. She asked the question, how good are these guys compared to the guys on the team? Meaning the non-Summer League team, that is, folks. Back to the email. It's an interesting question that I don't know how to answer, because for someone like the Wizards, half of these guys are going to make the team and play significant minutes. For someone like the Mavericks or Spurs, a lot of these guys are going to go to the G League or lesser and rotate in for a game here or there. What would you say the actual level is for Summer League basketball? Because I'm flabbergasted. Also, side note, I am now an uncle for the second time, as my sister just had her first kid today. My first niece, and your brother had a kid, your nephew, and godson a few years ago. Nice, dude. Tom, that's right. That was the other reason I wanted to read this. Tom and I had nieces born on the same day. It would have been July, I don't want to say doesn't matter, I can say the date. July 11th, Tom, if it was July 11th, you and I had nieces born on the same day. My in-laws, they had a girl. So how cool is that? That Bathroom Tom, a.k.a. Wizards fan Tom, a.k.a. Hot Tom, him and I had kids born. And it was Roman, my son, it was his first cousin that he'll be older than, which is fun. I was showing him pictures of the newborn baby. You forget, man. You forget in your head, like, how fucking small those babies are. Like a newborn. Like, I don't know. Like, I think my kid's pretty small, but he's not. He's huge. But I'm like, yeah, but he's a baby. So, like, he's a little guy, No, dude. Newborns? If you're watching today's show, like, imagine this is a newborn, and you're like, oh, we have to do skin to skin. Like, this is what it's like. I mean, this would be like a damn 30-week-year-old baby. 30-week-year-old baby? Maybe I should put this down. They're really, really small, though. Your question, like, about Summer League guys, and you pretty much nailed it right on the head, Tom. It really does depend on the roster. Like the guys playing in Detroit this year, I don't. Chaz Lanier will be on the team. I'm sure I don't know if they've signed him, like what contract they've got him on yet, if it's a two-way or whatever it is. But yeah, he'll probably spend some time playing with the Drive this year. Bobby Klintman, another guy that will probably spend most of his time playing in the G League, but like, may get to be like a 13th guy at the end of a bench. Otherwise, like Ron Holland, he's a guy who will play actual minutes, but he only played like 2 games, I think. So yeah, I mean, the truth is, like, I mean, all of those guys, if you saw every single player playing in the Summer League, if you saw them in a random gym, would be the best player that you've ever seen, like, casually playing in your entire life. But that's not really what the question is. The question from your girlfriend wasn't like, how did she ask it? I'm not going to do a French accent. I'm not going to do it. Let me say something nice about France. Nailed the Olympics. They were beautiful. What a just gorgeous scenes that they had. My favorite one was the place where they did the fencing. I don't know what, like, hall. It was like a concert hall. It was gorgeous. The gold medals, they all had a piece of, they had recently renovated the Eiffel Tower, and so every single gold medal had like a piece of the quote unquote old Eiffel Tower in the middle of it in like a hexagon. Awesome. Nailed the Olympics. Paris did an amazing job with the Olympics. Outside of that, Kylian Mbappe. Yeah. 4th best soccer player in the world. Kylian Mbappe. There's a fun impromptu segment. You want me to do that? Tom, let me put a bow on your email really quick. Yeah, 90% of those rosters are it's a complete drop off. 90% of Summer League rosters, and that's being generous, it's like 90 to 95%. It's a complete drop off, and they would not play in the NBA. They might get a bucket. They would be more, it would be easier for them to get a bucket than like you or me. But like, these are the guys who are going to play like EuroLeague, or they're going to play for the damn New Zealand Breakers or something like that. Or they're going to go play like Yang Hansen's friends who are all made in a fucking lab. I need to stop doing that. Stuff like that. All fine leagues. All fine. But it's not the NBA, you know. Top 5 soccer players in the world. Oh, you guys who are actually soccer heads, you're going to throw up. You're going to hate this. Because there's going to be so much just personal, like not even bias, but just like, I don't know, these are just the guys that, it really is more just like, these are the guys that if they're playing, I will watch no matter what. Oh, man. And it's not going to be rooted in anything. I'm just stalling because I'm trying to think of who I want to put in here. Well, top 5 guys. Number 6, I'm going to say Virgil van Dijk. Just as an honorable mention, just want to throw him in there. Number 5, Mo Salah. Mo Salah played the best season of his life last year. Liverpool won the league. He loves, in training, he loves to wear his quarter zip. He loves putting it over his hands and using the little thumb hole. Very European. Very European. We don't do that here. I love how handsy Europeans are. They love grabbing other guys' faces and kissing them on the cheek and shit like that. I wish we did that here. I'm also very handsy, and I would love to touch people's faces. If I ever go blind, I'm going to have a fucking ball, because I'm just going to be like, yes, get to touch people's faces. Number 4. Number 4, I will say it is Kylian Mbappe. I'm going to say it's Kylian Mbappe. Number 3, you want to get disgusting? I mean it. I'm so serious. Kvaratskhelia. In FIFA, I'm doing a managerial career for just like a club that I made up. And Kvaratskhelia won 2 Ballon d'Ors in a row. You know how hard that was to do with Kvaratskhelia? Wasn't honestly that hard. He's a really good winger, but I love him. I love that he says, fuck it, I'm going to wear like ankle socks. I'm going to wear them lower than what you would imagine is even regulation. Nobody wears them as low as he does. He's got like a really goofy handle, but it works. I don't know. Where did he get Napoli, I think is where he was before PSG. He won like 2 league titles in the same year for like different clubs. And even he scored in the final against Inter Milan. And yeah, Kvaratskhelia. I want his jersey so bad. Love him. Anytime I'm like playing FIFA. Dude, I did like a player career with him in FIFA. I love Kvaratskhelia. Is he the 3rd best player in the world? Yeah, according to this list, he fucking is. Now, the next 2 players, if you've listened to the show, you know where I'm going with this. But it's just a matter of who's where. I'm going to blow some fucking minds right now. Number 2 is Erling Haaland. I'm not putting him at number 1. I'm not doing it. For no reason other than he just got hurt at the end of the year, and you just kind of didn't really see him anymore. And then also City like finally had a bad year, which had nothing to do with Haaland. But to actually say real things about him that are nice, I don't think there's anybody in the world who times their runs the way that Haaland does. And I think like his ability to toe that line and to just always be onside. Like imagine if Darwin Nunez had that, like, it's not a footwork thing, but like that like sense of awareness, you know what I mean? Like he would probably, first of all, wouldn't be, the transfer rumors with him, who fucking knows where he's going. I don't know. He would still be in Liverpool, and people wouldn't have ostracized him. Haaland is just the best. I mean, it's so funny to watch his highlights. I was just doing it the other day. And by the other day, I mean, I think like 3 different days this week, I've just been like, let me watch the same 30-minute compilation of Erling Haaland just kicking the ball. Because that's what he does. That's all he does. Like the run and kick man. You know, they call Giannis the run and dunk man. Run and dunk. That's literally Erling Haaland. He's just like, what if I kicked the ball and it went in and I kicked it really hard, but I did it better than anybody else. He also had the best goal I've ever seen in my life, which was against Borussia Dortmund. It's a little homecoming for him. When he kung fu'd the ball in the air, you've never seen anything like that before in your life, ever. I don't even, like, the coordination is, you've never seen anything like it. And number one, the obvious choice is Declan Rice. Yeah, those free kicks no, I'm just kidding. It's not Declan Rice. I will say, Declan Rice, for the rest of his life, when I see him in a set piece, I'm going to stop what I'm doing because of what he did in the Champions League. Those 2 free kicks that he had, holy shit. They were so cool. They were so cool. It's not him. It's Lamine Yamal. I think he's the best player in the world. I really do. Actually, as of today, or maybe a day or two ago, switching his number for like the second or third time, they're letting him wear 10 at Barcelona, which for you Americans who don't care about soccer, probably not listening to this segment at this point, but if you are, wearing 10 at Barcelona is the equivalent of wearing number 7 at LSU. Does that make sense? In football. Does that make sense? That's the only way I can quantify it. You got to be a dog to wear that number. And not just a dog, like a guy that we will talk about for the next 50 years. Lamine Yamal just turned 18 like within the last couple of days. And I think he's the best player in the world. And the way that, and another guy that in the last couple of days, I just keep watching his highlights, right? What it is with him for me is like he has ideas with the ball that I don't know. Like, Haaland is an easy guy to, like, figure out. Not really. I'm really watering down how special Haaland is, but he's my favorite. He's my favorite player. Lamine Yamal is just, I think, the best player, but he's my second favorite player. So, technically, if this was a favorite players list, they would be flipped. Erling Haaland would be number 1. I don't want to minimize how good Haaland is, but, like, you know what I fucking mean. With Lamine Yamal, like, he had a goal against Inter Milan in the Champions League where, like, there were 6 guys around him, and he just kind of, like, flicked it up, and it went top left. You're like, what the fuck just happened? Having ideas with the ball that you can't conceive of is really the only way that I could describe it. It's like playing FIFA on Rookie, you know, like my player on Rookie, and you're just kind of like, you just, like, holding L2 or L1 or whatever the fuck and, like, flicking the stick and just, like, going nuts, going crazy, like, wild style. Lamine Yamal just turned 18 years old. He's like facing an investigation right now because he had this like really extravagant birthday party. He's the best player in the world. And I guess he solicited like dwarves to come to his party. And I don't think we know why yet, but my brain immediately went to the famous Freddie Mercury anecdote, which was that Freddie Mercury would throw these parties and he would have dwarves like walking around with these little like plates on their head, and they would just have lines of Coke on them. So it's like walking around like a waiter with like a, you know, like a platter of champagne, but they have platters of cocaine on their head, and they're just walking around. So people could be like, they would put a hand on their forehead and be like, stop. And then they do a line off of the dwarf's head. I don't know why Lamine Yamal would otherwise have them there, unless it was like Wolf of Wall Street style, like throwing them at a dartboard while they're like wrapped in Velcro or something like that. Maybe it was that. But he like commented on like, is this real? I don't know if this was real. Maybe I got like ballsack sportsed. That he publicly commented on Peter Dinklage's Instagram from a picture from like 3 years ago. And he was like, check your DMs. What the fuck? Leave him alone. Leave him alone. When you hear people talk about Lamine Yamal, there's always like a little sense of caution with him, because it's not that he's not like the best player in the world. It's that he's the best player in the world and he's a fucking kid. And what he was doing for Barcelona last year, talking shit to Real Madrid, like, you guys can be mad at me for being awesome, but how about you beat me? How about that? It's like, yeah, okay. It's like, all right, chill, kid, but like, also you're right. People are just like worried about it, like fucking with his brain and like the expectation and the, you know, the precedent that's being set by him being this good, this young. And like, it's really hard to just live up to the, yeah, I guess, because people are very protective of him, which is nice, but the 2 guys on this list that's what I believe. I think Haaland's number 2, and I think Lamine Yamal is the best player in the world. Okay. All right. Spotify. Love you guys. Worst purchase you ever had? It's the dumbest thing you ever bought. But it has to be like expensive. It has to be like over $100. Okay. My dumbest one, probably my Buffs. I don't need Cartier sunglasses. I didn't need those. I wanted them because I thought I deserved them, and I did. I had to call my bank to raise my limit because I tried to buy them and I felt like such a jackass. I tried to buy them and they're like, this is declined. And I was like, what's the total? And they told me. I was like, fuck, that's like $300 over my daily limit. And they're like, okay. And I could just tell that they knew, you know what I mean? It was in Santa Monica and they're like, oh, this fucking guy just tries to buy, he doesn't have enough money. So I had to be the guy that was like, look, it was like a Sunday, so I couldn't call my bank. They were closed. And it was in Michigan. So I had to be like, look, I'm going to be back tomorrow. I swear to God. And they're like, uh-huh. And I was like, I know you probably hear shit like this all the time. I swear to God, I will be back tomorrow. I will raise my fucking limit and I will be back. And they're like, okay, we'll set them aside for you. And guess whose ass was there at 9:01 the next day? Me. And the same two sales associates were working. It felt so fucking good for me. Now, the truth was they did not give a shit that I actually did come back. They were just like, cool, we're about to like make our sales goal for the day in the first 5 minutes of us opening. You're welcome. And then I bought them, and it was super cool. Treated me like a king, too. You buy expensive shit, and people treat you like royalty. Felt awesome. I've never worn them in public. I wore them from where I was, the store that I bought them from, to the office that I was working at. And that was the only time they've been on in public. Otherwise, I'm just too nervous that something's going to happen to them. I wear them at home. I wear them when I'm literally sitting in a room that nobody else is in, and I look at myself in the mirror, and I'm like, look how fucking cool I look. It's just a dumb purchase. I'm very happy I have them, and I think they're important to me, but pretty fucking expensive. So the dumbest thing that you ever bought that you're like, what did I... And did you eventually get off of that thing? Did you sell it? I'll never sell my buffs, but... I probably should, but I never will. Apple Podcasts. What's up? If you're watching this on YouTube, be sure to leave a like, subscribe, nice little comment for the algorithm. Make sure to keep primary control in check. And I will catch you guys in the next one.